Welcome to the Future Fit Edge podcast, your launchpad into a smart future. In this era of exponential disruption, the choice is crystal clear. Reinvent or be left behind, whether you are at your peak or facing new challenges. I am Cindy Montgenie, your guide, inviting you behind the scenes of strategic reinvention. As a former tech executive turned future of work explorer and reinvention strategist, I have equipped thousands of leaders worldwide to not just navigate ambiguity, but thrive in it. Each power-packed episode decodes the strategies of top executives who are tackling today's toughest challenges to stay future fit and transform their organizations, communities, or industries for a brighter tomorrow. Tune in for stellar insights, practical frameworks, and cutting-edge mindset shifts that will set you apart. The future is unstoppable. Are you ready to be unstoppable too? Hit subscribe and join me on this exciting journey. So welcome to a new episode of the Future Fit Edge podcast. And we have another accomplished guest today, who is Jeffrey Martinez. Is the Executive Vice President and Head of Branch Banking at PNC Bank. His organization includes more than 15,000 employees. And Jeff brings more than 20 years of banking experience, including a decade at JP Morgan. As a US Army veteran, thanks a lot, Jeff, for your service, and passionate community leader, Jeffrey is dedicated to bring access and opportunity to all, not only in finance and beyond. So thank you very much, Jeff, for taking time to stop by and to chat with us today.
Yeah, well, Cindy, thank you for having me.
So let's dive in, because at this moment, most of the banks are decreasing their physical footprint and expanding their digital platforms. But at PNC, you are investing billions in new branches, which is bold. So what are some insights that maybe others are missing about the future of banking?
Yeah, well, Cindy, great question and a great way to start us off. And again, really appreciate your time and curiosity and a great question to get us started. And I think the one part that sets PNC apart and really kind of dives in a unique fashion is the ability to still invest digitally. So it's not like we've rerouted our strategy away from digital accessibility, making things easy for our clients. What we've understood over years of investing across our digital platforms is that financial wellness and that financial wellness journey is genuinely a human one in which you want connectivity, guidance, and advice, especially for some of the more complex decisions, buying a home, retirement, saving for a big purchase or making a big purchases. We find that clients want that to be curated and want a human experience alongside with digital tools, digital resources. So it's really humanizing the digital that I think we've done really well. Also in a fast-growing environment, we recently acquired BBVA in 2021, which expanded our footprint in the Southwest. So from Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, California. We also found that there's an important balance to make sure that we're relevant in the communities that we're in today. And so what we're doing is we've doubled down in our physical presence in not new geographies, but places that we're in today that we think we can better serve our community and clients, both existing and new clients. And our existing clients love it. I mean, we've really built it out based on the feedback of our clientele that says, Jeff, we love you, but we wish you were in this part of town. We wish you were in this part where my business is. And so it's really been listening to our clients, growing our network today and where we operate. And the response has been absolutely resounding by not only new clients, but our existing clients as well.
Oh, fantastic. Like the focus on the human experience, which I think is critical for any organization, especially in a tech-driven world. And as I mentioned in my introduction, you have like a unique story and background from the military to the boardroom. And the military is kind of strict, command, control, rigid. And
Yeah.
nowadays, corporate America, we're talking more about agility, innovation.
Yeah.
But how this unique experience is shaping your leadership philosophy when navigating innovation and disruption?
Yeah, yeah. So again, it's one that I get often, and I'm always even challenged in describing. And I say it starts for me, in my 9 years in the U.S. Army National Guard, and I appreciated my two deployments overseas to serve our country in Operation Iraqi Freedom. And I think a lot of it started during my military journey, kind of knowing the attributes and I'd say not it's easier to say now hindsight, but knowing some of the things that I knew I wanted to extract from it personally, this kind of sense of leadership, maybe the added discipline, the structure. And so one of the things that I know has been in line, so it's easy to kind of tell the differences, but there's so many synergies in both worlds. There is a mission and people first mentality that I bring every single day. Now, the mission may be different, but the end state or the path to the end state is the same. Really clearing and understanding the resources you need, the people you need, the talent that needs to be developed. And so I've been able to harness a lot of that experience from my time in the Army and bring it into a way that also allows me to be agile in an ever evolving industry. And there's missions and times that you needed to be agile. So you knew and understood very clear steps in the mission. But as things would happen, you'd have to figure out, well, what's plan B? What's your contingency plan? And that ability of real time fluidity in the Army has absolutely shaped my career in the financial and banking sector. And I think a lot of that is showing up in the decisions that we make today. And so understanding people are the ones that get things done. And so you'll see a lot of my time, energy, and investments in the talent at PNC, because with the right talent, with the right development, ambition and ideas become reality. Because I can't tell you how many times, Cindy, or other organizations I talk to, where we may share similar ambition, but it's the talent and the talent's ability to bring that to life that is what's challenged. So again, I salute and applaud all our only 60,000 PNC employees, but especially our over 15,000 that fill our entire branch network, because they're agile. They've built this ability of team first, mission first, and that's showing up for our clients, because our clients, that client obsession truly is the mission. So every day I kind of harness both backgrounds and experiences to just try to show up as the leader that our industry needs, the leader our teams need, and especially the leader within our branch segment that my people need.
Yes, and I love the distinction, like the team, the organization, the employee. And as you mentioned, like agility, innovation are critical nowadays. For this reason, the podcast exists. But one of the challenges that you must face is one of the challenges is finance is a highly regulated industry. So you're not
Yes.
Google that could do whatever they want almost
Yeah.
one day to another. So how are you navigating this tension within PNC Bank of be aligned with all the regulation, but also be agile, innovative? And what would be some mindset shifts you would recommend for other executives who are in other highly regulated industries and they need to be innovative and be compliant at the same
Yeah.
time?
Yeah. And so a lot of it, I'd say it stems for me, Cindy, around the client. And so a lot of it is, what are we innovating for? What are we solving for? And then what you often find is when you center yourself around the client experience, a lot of the things, yes, can create ease through technology, the way AI may find itself in our industry. And look, we'll kind of watch from afar currently. And there's things that we're learning. I just spent some time again through PNC at the PNC Institute within Carnegie Mellon on trying to understand the way we're deploying technologies today. And a lot of it is informing and working with our regulators to, again, with the client first, what are we trying to cause? What are the benefits to our clients and communities and our employees? And how do we make sure we create a safe environment and where things can be understood and avoid any potential risk to, personal information, personal data. And so we've been on this journey, again, not only with newer technologies, but existing technologies. I will say, and, my team will tell you a lot of the stuff we're seeking, the next horizon on what will make this industry better. How can we move faster? Where can we be disruptive? What I have found is there's a lot of the things today in our technology that we have at our disposal that we're just not deploying in a way that is as beneficial as it could be to the company, to our employees. So, you'll hear me say often, like, new doesn't fix broken. And so, as again, we all perk up by the next shiny thing. What is Chat GPT going to do to this industry? What is, Open AI and all their work that they're doing going to revolutionize the industry? But what I take kind of note of is, well, let's talk about the past technologies in the hands of our team. How have we deployed those? And does that give me a better understanding of how do we deploy some of these new innovative technologies going forward? Because there's not only regulatory risk and everything that we watch out for in compliance, but probably one of the biggest part is execution risk, because none of these things are free. So they're an investment, they're an expense. And so we really have to make sure that we learn from our people and will tell me how you will use them. And as you understand how those are deployed, again, really making sure that we're keeping our regulators closely connected, which we do. Fortunate to have a close relationship with our regulators. We show them things not just after they've been deployed, but before, because we lean on a lot of industry expertise, pitfalls that they may have seen across other organizations, institutions, or industries. And so I think a lot of that is also transparency, Cindy. Like we know we want to win share. We know we want to be a disruptive force within the retail banking and even broader financial industry. But a lot of that is not doing it so siloed, where as you deploy, you find yourself maybe making some risky scenarios. And I think often, again, those scenarios aren't centered around what's best for our client. They're usually centered around what's best for something else. And so I think that's where we've been able to really work hand in hand, internally with our partners, externally with our external partners, with the client at the center, and then really centered around what's the benefit, what's the upside, how do we create ease, how do we do it in a transparent and collaborative way, and then make sure that there is an execution risk. So all of this energy is all for naught because, hey, we got all the green lights from regulatory environment, but yet here we are client facing and it's falling flat. And so it really takes this kind of greater burn-in cycle. And again, collaboration and transparency that I think historically and reputationally PNC has always had. And so just continuing to build on that with our partners in terms of, kind of advice for other executives. I think a lot of it is be centered around our clients and our employees, understanding what each of those need, but then understanding, back to one of my earlier points, like what's been the example of prior deployments and how well did those go? And so if you're really looking to try to chase the next fad, those usually fall flat. Where is it in our entire, kind of mission or strategic planning? Where does that fit in? Because often I've seen other senior executives derail their 3 to 5 year strategy because, again, they're chasing the next shiny fad. And then they realize at the end it fell flat. Well, hey, you pulled resources that maybe weren't aligned to it. You moved too fast and avoided some compliant and regulatory concerns that would have been in. And so often you see that, like, be true to your strategy. Yes, pivot and be fluid as technology is moving fast. But all of that technology should amplify and enhance your strategy. It shouldn't derail it. And if it does, there was either something questionable about the strategy to begin with, or maybe we should be really taking a second look at, why we're running after this new and emerging technology just because maybe someone else is.
Yes, and I totally agree with you, because one of the challenges now with the technology, like at this moment, there is a big hype, but at some point it's going to be a commodity, like our technology. And the main thing is, are we creating value? Because
Yes.
if we're not creating value, really we are not doing anything. So to your point,
Yeah.
like think like the next big things without value creation, this is the
Yeah.
question of any organization.
And so that's a big take culturally as well, because you will burn out your employees if you're constantly chasing the next new thing and the next technology and the next innovation. I don't think there's any industry organization where all of it fits in. There is some things that you need to strategically ignore. And you have to strategically ignore it because it's not true to your strategy. It's not true to your client base. It's not true to your mission. But it takes a bold leader to understand where you invest in and what do you ignore, because everything is finite. The wallet is finite, so I can't go to my boss and say, "Hey, here's let me get another billion for something else." That's not the way the world works. But I also can't go to my team and say, "Where can I fit these added hours into your day or your week to launch something else new?" And so there needs to be a very clear understanding of capacity planning, how it aligns to your strategic objectives, your financial objectives, and then ultimately doing it all in a way that moves your business and your clients forward.
And I love how you are bringing everything to the customer and your teammate, because at the end, those are like the critical parts of creating value for the market, but also taking care of our people. And this in this tech-driven world, when there is so much data, so much tech, how are you making it real? How are you balancing this human touch, empathy? You are talking about the human experience for your client,
Yeah.
mission and team first. So in your day-to-day with an organization of 15,000 employees, how are you making it real, this
Yeah.
balance of empathy
Yeah.
and human touch?
Yeah. Yeah. And so a lot of it, I probably stem from understanding the innovation and resources in maybe two buckets. And those two buckets is what is supplementative and what is complementative. And so
Okay.
supplementative, when there's a space for where do I free up time and capacity, human capacity, because I can create ease for the client. And clients want that. So often, again, back, you have to listen to your employees, you have to listen to your clients. And so, hey, if I want to check my balance, I probably want technology to supplement that for my employees versus to complement that. Make it easy, simple, doesn't take a lot of wiggle room. Now, I may have some questions because of the money now I have saved, and I'm ready to make a bigger transaction, whether, again, a home purchase, a purchase of a vehicle, or be able to invest. I want technology to complement the human narrative. And so it's really understanding, hey, as I'm deploying or looking for technologies, where can I find it to supplement? Because now I'm going to add time back to more productive work for our employees. And then what technology allows me to, in a human interaction, complement a discussion, complement trust, complement what has been maybe that financial wellness discussion. And so I think often, and I think also in leadership, technology, or some people sell things that are looking to supplement some of that leadership. And there is parts of leadership and management that aren't built to be supplemented. They're built to be complemented. And then later we figure out, hey, that didn't work out the way it was meant to. Well, yeah, you took the most important part of accountability, of coaching, of inspiration and motivation, and tried to supplement that out through technology. There is some things that, at least for me and my belief, Cindy, is like, our people can bring the best out of other people and the technology that they use. Not necessarily technology alone brings out the best of people. And look, there's some, especially as the generation gets younger and younger and they're more prone to technology. Yeah, that it does land a little soft, but you'll find that it is usually shoulder to shoulder with walking through the technology with a client or employee that resonates the most, especially when it's dealing with more of a complex thing. And again, I'm the first one to admit it. Technology has made the simplest things easier, as it should. There is some things that our clients should expect to get an answer in 2 seconds because it's their balance. It's an ATM location. It is a stop payment. It is a wire. There are some things that absolutely it's been easier. But when you're there to sit a life-changing decision, I know our people and our clients want to see and trust and look eye to eye through a subject matter expert at PNC and say, guide me through this, walk me through this. And along with technology, our people bring that to life.
Yes, exactly. You totally nailed it. And one of the things you've been mentioning is about creating like these open and safe spaces for your team. And this is critical. Research has shown that to unleash innovation, psychological safety is a critical component. But also in my role as a consultant and executive coach, I'm seeing, especially in large organizations, that it's challenging for people who are part of the executive team to get access to what is really happening on the ground, because everybody wants to look good on the picture. So they're like hiding the truth. So how are you ensuring honest feedback is coming from the ground to you and the rest of your leadership team, so you could deploy those innovations, those improvements for your employees and also for your customer? How do you do it at scale?
Yeah, so a lot of it, I will say, it is a cultural declaration. This isn't a one-time hit. And I'd say, look, it could be. Are you going to get the same results if you're looking at an annual survey? If you ask your employees once in a blue, yeah, maybe you get some feedback here and there. And so I think the first part of what we've done at C is ingrained in the DNA and the fiber that this is a ground-up organization. We are curious at the top. We vet things throughout all layers of the organization. And we've been able to facilitate that in a couple formats. One, we have a kind of just fix it or feedback loop internally that could be done, again, just by shooting a note. And we have an entire team that read through all that and respond to each one. A lot of our feedback that we're getting from the field is things that are already in flight. And so all we're doing is informing and saying, Cindy, great recommendation. Our product team has been working on that. We should have something back to you in the next 60 days, and we're excited to tell the whole organization. And so not only it's just getting the feedback, but what do you do with it? And often it's just an answer, a response. Hey, we're going to look at that, and we collect that, and we start seeing some themes. So because I don't assume I know everything. And so back, you have to have that cultural fit. We've embedded that in every part of our business. We have feedback loops specific to products. So, and we do that over the course of time. We do that in terms of pricing. We have feedback around technology, even the tools our teams are using that are employee facing to service our client better. We have a group, and we built it called the ACEs. And so we have a group of bankers, managers, tellers, regional managers across the country where we simply say, hey, the screen is up. Talk to me how you use it. And we've moved buttons, reduced pages and clicks that, again, as we work with our tech team and they do what's right, code and built out our system in the way that we need it. But in terms of ergonomics, we want to hear from the banker that's using it hundreds of times a day, that just simply says, Jeff, if I only had to click one less time with the amount of clients I see, Jeff, I'm saving another 30 minutes. And we'll put that into production. So there's probably no aspect of the retail business that hasn't been directly impacted by direct line feedback. Another example of that is this is an organization where we're out in the field. I try to live it. I believe my LinkedIn, if I truly posted every time I was out, people would be sick of me, but I love being out in the field. I hear it, and to me, I call it, it's the call BS moment. And it's either I'm calling BS of the individual that's deploying it or internally within the process that we've built. And so I'll be out in the field like, hey, we just rolled out this new card. How has it landed? We just rolled out this new process, this new product. And understanding it really real time with the client in our branches. Is it working? Does it seem clunky? Does it seem authentic? Does it seem innovative as it carries across? And if it doesn't, you see me based on employee feedback, what I've seen, my own experience, engage our product partners, engage our technology partners, and they're receptive because they're not waiting. They're not waiting for me to catch them in something that was, I wouldn't say built wrong, maybe not ideal, they're the ones saying, hey, Jeff, when is the next time you're going out in the field? Because I'd love if you ask this question. So there's a true collaborative sense of curiosity, because getting it right means happier employees, and those happier employees will deliver a happier experience to our clients, and a happier client means better business, better referrals, a better brand experience. And so it truly has been this kind of full cycle, and we look at it in the loop because you have to keep that loop going, which we loved. And again, we constantly have these touch points. Is my directs, their directs, directs of their directs are out in the field, just talking to our employees. And lastly, I love my team. They love to have fireside chats, and we start with tell me what you love and tell me what you don't. And you have to do it. And we're now being on this journey now years. There's this level of trust to say, hey, I'm going to say something potentially provocative, and I hope it doesn't land poorly when I tell you, Jeff, that last launch sucked. And we've built that. Again, why it's so important to be embedded in your culture, because if not, you just get people that say, oh, that's great, that's good. They won't tell you exactly what's happening. And people enjoy. Not, again, our teams aren't trying to catch what's broken. They're saying, hey, at the top, there's no way they built this for it to take longer. So let people know, hey, this is taking longer than the last process, because our team is so engaged on getting this right, because they know what that means for their careers, for their communities, and obviously their success.
So trust, collaboration, feedback loop, and being on the field.
That's right.
And also you're an angel investor. So
yes.
A supporter of small businesses, and the idea of if they become after big businesses. So what are your criteria when you are going to invest and to back a founder and a company? What are you looking for?
Yeah. And look, great question. Obviously, I wouldn't be in the business that I'm in if I didn't love small business and entrepreneurship. Or almost 1 million small businesses within PNC. It's probably been reciprocally for me one of the best learning from our small business clients. From when I was a branch manager to in the region, I'm part of the statewide Hispanic Chamber of Commerce here in New Jersey. So I personally have a very strong, passionate admiration for our small business owners and entrepreneurs. My dad was one when he owned his embroidery in the 80s, 90s, and early 2000s. So I've personally had a love for it. Now, in terms of venture capital, angel investing, which has been a growing passion of mine, I've been part of angel investors now for 4 years, have built a pretty strong portfolio internally of clients that I've invested through their pitch nights. I'm an LP on their fund as well. And so some of the things that we look at, one is scale. I always look at scalability, and I'll say I look at scalability of any idea internally within PNC. So is it niche? How fast can we grow? What is the infrastructure to understand, like, what is the long-term success? And, you heard me use the word fad. Are we chasing a fad and a trend? Or are we truly looking for something that's scalable? What are they trying to solve for at the end? And so that can be also interpretive. What's the opportunity? And so, I love companies that come up and say, hey, we're part of, the opportunity is a $1 trillion opportunity, but what have we really done to capture that at the scale that we operate now? How fast are we growing? And then obviously, what would we do with the dollars that they're looking to be invested in is probably one of the biggest kind of deep thinking parts that I look at. Once you look at, and a lot of it is either to add resources, if there's anywhere near within manufacturing, to scale their manufacturing. So I love entrepreneurs and businesses that are busting at the seams. And so they've basically done the most that they could at the space that they're in today. And so it's all of like, Jeff, $1 means X returns because I already see it. I'm at the seams. I have 10 employees and I can't do more with 10, but if I had 20, I would double production. I have one plant or facility. If I had 2 or 3, I'd do it. So really that ability to bust at the seams, where some of them are still maybe kind of scalability. And so it's more of a good idea. And there's still value in that too. Now, again, it all depends at where are you in your risk tolerance. And so look, that kind of pre-seed can have some lucrative dividends, but also, hey, it's before any revenue, it's before any client, it's before any client feedback. And look, I'm in some of those spaces as well, but those are probably industries that aren't fast followers, but really trying to either disrupt an industry or do something different within an industry that really kind of captures the attention. And then lastly, it's what has the founder or entrepreneur done prior. And so if there's probably a theme in us talking, I do look at historicals as a way to understand and predict future opportunity. And so a lot of them have scaled prior businesses, have done something for a larger tech firm that maybe they realized that they needed some ability to be nimble in some of these fast careers. So they've decided to spin off out of what could have been a long career at Google, at Microsoft, at Apple, and have decided through those learnings to build something completely different or something that, again, complements something that they've seen within the industry. So the founder is super, super important. But what they've done, because I'm sure, Cindy, as you've seen, you have, kind of sometimes the founder that believes they have to control everything. And that's when then my scalability red flag goes up and says, great idea, great mind. It will fall flat as the organization. Not everyone gets better as the organization or the company or the product gets bigger. And so, I love what Angeles has been able to do within their pitches. You really get a good sense of where the companies are today, what they're looking to do, and what will they do with the capital in terms of accelerating their growth.
Awesome. And going on this theme of your experience in both angel investing and banking, what would be one actionable step that a current executive that needs to balance tradition and innovation could take tomorrow to be effective?
Yeah, and you probably said it right now. The best word is the balance. I think often we swing pendulums too far. I've been part of organizations, nonprofits, and where the ability or frankly inability to strike the right balance between both has caused some heartache. You invest too heavy on innovation and kind of lose the DNA or culture of what you wanted to innovate to begin with. And so you almost kind of take on a path that isn't true to the organization, the product, the client, the community or demographic. And so it's always understanding, again, balance of like, you need to innovate because we know what happens when you don't. But how do you do that in a way that you don't leave your talent behind? You don't leave your client base behind. And we've seen that, especially in banking. I remember some of the things I'm seeing today in the banking industry, I saw samples of in the 90s. I think of one, again, as I was much before getting into the industry, but I remember seeing some financial institutions where, you kind of wanted to start innovating. You had to pick up a phone to get an answer within the branch, and you're looking at bankers and you're like, well, why can't I ask that person? Oh, well, we're trying something new. Well, I mean, we still struggle to migrate some of those technology things today. Imagine 30 years ago in the 90s. So that's a level of what I would say, this may be a dirty word, over innovation, that you move beyond the mission, you move beyond the person, both the employee and the client, and you start to really almost have diminishing returns. Even though you may be investing the most, it may not land well. And so you have to kind of strike the balance, because the balance means you have an ear out for both the impacts of innovation, but how it lands on people, how it lands. And so you're kind of always toggling between both, which in a long period of time, you would see it's a balanced approach. And so, again, make sure, and maybe it's the Army thing of leave no man behind, leave no person behind. And so I see that in the same case for innovation, because we are seeing Some companies are leaving people behind, and that's not showing up well for their returns.
Yeah, and this is like a great transition for, we are coming to the end of the podcast, which is like getting to know you more on a personal level, because throughout this thread, we could see passion about talent and like the human experience. So we got like a great overview of Jeff, the executive. So let's do a kind of fireside style questions to get to know more like the personal sides. Between digital books and paper books, your preference?
So I would say in my heart, it's still paper books. I have become a recent lover of Audible. And so I just based on whether sometimes I'll be in the middle of a book and I have a long plane ride and I would have left it home as I'm packing. I'm like, oh, I don't want to start a new book. So I found myself downloading the book that I'd read on Audible, just because if I'm driving, there is a practicality that I enjoy. But I will tell you, I still get the greatest feeling from opening up a hardcover book and just reading through it. I like to highlight, I like to put Post-its, and so I return to it. So I probably have every book. If I haven't gifted it to people that I've needed, I probably have every book I ever read still at home.
Awesome. And to learn, podcasts or books when you want to learn a new topic?
Good. You know what? It's a blend of two. I read a lot of articles. I am probably so in the mix, and I would say through that, both books, podcasts have their place. I would say on a day, I probably read 50 articles a day. I mean, there is like I just it allows me, as the way my day is structured, to get bite size of relevant immediate information that I can use in the way I'm leading this organization. So a lot of it could be about the economy. A lot of it could be around the financial sector. A lot of it is around potentially politics, leadership, emotional intelligence, and then even sports that fits a role, whether trying to create a competitive advantage or build small talk. But I read an insane amount of articles. I'd say, probably every hour I'm 4 to 5 articles in, just because, again, it's a quick read. 3 to 5 minutes, you got little nuggets of information. And at the end of the day, you have a good sense of what's going on in the world to be well informed, to be cultured enough. And then you can obviously put that into place in wherever you need, professionally or personally.
Yeah, but this is impressive, like 50 articles a day. And you are like busy because you're an executive, you're a community leader, you have a family, you're an Anthony Foster. So which hobby you wish you would have more time for?
Yeah, well, those that know me know I'm a big scuba diver. So I anywhere I can. Now, it's horrible to have that passion for scuba diving when you live in New Jersey. There's not a lot to do in the Hudson River or in the North Atlantic. But one that causes me to spend time with my family, or even sometimes without my family, really enjoying the ocean. I have a big love for the ocean. If I didn't have to work, I'd spend my day and night cleaning up the ocean. I just think it's, again, centered around our viability as a life to sustain over the years, and what we owe to our kids. But then the beauty, it's my yoga. I mean, I will do some pretty intense and deep dives. It's probably no ocean I haven't dove in, and they all have very unique experiences. And to me, it quiets every noise. My mind is always thinking. I always have, again, just even the example of the amount of articles reading a day. I enjoy truly just being with myself, controlling my heart rate, controlling my mind. It's my kind of steady hand moment to make sure, with everything happening in the world, everything happening in our industry, everything happening personally, you're kind of at bliss for a second and enjoying our beautiful oceans.
Great. And a favorite comfort food? Your favorite comfort food?
Oh God. Everything is that everything. Um, I'd say, and look, being Cuban, Colombian, both both amazing foods. You know, I'd probably say it's Cuban food, and my mom would kill me because I do love Colombian food, but especially northern New Jersey, a big Cuban population. Love when my dad used to cook for us and make ropa vieja or vaca frita. And so I would say like rice, beans, vaca frita, or lechon, which is pork. I don't know. I feel right at home.
Yes, I think like this is great food. I live in Miami, so
Oh yeah,
definitely
no, I know.
part of the
Yeah,
of the
Cafe,
stuff that
Cafe La Trova and all the wonderful, Versailles, all that great Cuban food.
and you are meeting like amazing people through your different activities. But if you could meet with a famous person who is alive today for like quick coffee or dinner or lunch, which celebrity would you pick?
Oof, God. Interesting. Alive? They have to be alive.
Alive, yes.
Okay, they have to be alive.
Because we want to see if we can connect you at some point, maybe.
Yeah. I would, probably say there's two. One, maybe more intellectually, Tim Cook, for a couple reasons. One, obviously, we know the innovation of Apple, but I think it says a lot about what he's done, uh, with the company, like just again over the last couple of years. And so his ability to take what's a company that is constantly innovating and maintain that level of innovation. I'm sure there is a lot of pressure, both from the consumer, the shareholder, stakeholders, to always launch the next big thing. And I think the way he's understood both consumer, his people, technology, and what I would say a steady deployment of technology. I just think for someone that intellectual, there's a lot of emotional intelligence, there as well. And I mean, I wouldn't have wanted to follow Steve Jobs, and he did, and I think that takes a lot. Probably from someone I'd be interested to know a day in their life is Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, he's probably my from a film, probably one of my favorite actors overall. So I'd be interested to just what is the day in the life of Leonardo. But if I had to pick between the two, it would be Tim Cook.
And you have a great job, and you are the angel investor, I believe, like seeing many great ideas. But what could be your fantasy job?
Oh, my fantasy. So probably two. One I alluded to earlier, I'd be a scuba diving instructor. So if I could, and there wasn't, and frankly, I will probably that would probably be what I do. I will. You'd probably find myself in some Caribbean beach or in Southeast Asia, having my own little dive shop. If if truly, if I had to go back to school, something that was a little bit more thought out, I'd be an architect. Having lived in New York City, office in New York City, I'm still the one that is always looking up. I'm fascinated, and what the kind of the business of architecture has been over the last 20 years. I chase like going to the Burj Khalifa and just seeing something like that. I mean, it's almost, I mean, frankly, almost godly to be able to create the level of infrastructure, buildings, skyscrapers that we have. It's fascinating to me. And just how that all comes together, not only from a structural standpoint, but an aesthetic standpoint, that you look at what is just these beautiful, beautiful buildings. And they don't have to be stadiums. I mean, it's just, I love details in architecture, have always wowed me. So yeah, I would be a diving architect if I had a fantasy.
Love it. And what would you do with one additional hour a day?
God, maybe I'd get to 60 articles. I mean, frankly, I'd probably want to spend some more time with my kids. I blessed to have the family that I have, and having an older daughter now at 21. I don't know if she'd want the extra hour. My almost 10-year-old might at this point, and so I just think, again, we're always also busy and doing great things as a company. I love what I do. I love my time back on nonprofit boards, whether at New Jersey City University or Latino Justice. But to have an hour more, a day with my kids would be like winning the lottery.
Yeah, priceless because they are growing so fast.
They are.
Thank you very much, Jeff, for opening your heart on your personal side and sharing those fascinating insights on how to be innovative, adding value, leading high-performing teams who are thriving in this highly regulated banking industry. So thank you very much. And thanks to our audience. I hope you took a lot of notes on all those actionable insights. And we hope to see you at the next episode of the Future Fit Edge podcast. So please subscribe, comment, like, and share. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the Future Fit Edge podcast. To keep the conversation going, follow me on LinkedIn and subscribe to my newsletter. If you enjoyed this episode, remember to subscribe, rate, and share on your favorite podcast platform. See you next time.